Oh, hey, is that episode 2? Welcome back. It's Random Direction. On this episode, I will be walking you through a step by step process on how I create a painting. I'll show you the canvases I use, the brushes I use, and I'm going to be painting Edgar Allan Poe. I've always been a big fan. I'm surprised I actually haven't painted him before, so I'll walk you step by step through that. Alright, let's go.
It's Cooter music, duh!
You are now viewing Random Direction. You are now viewing Random Direction.
So, I got me a 24 by 30-inch canvas here with a 1.5-inch side on there. I like the bigger canvases. I'm not a huge fan of the smaller canvases. A lot of people like them, but all I can say is grow up a little bit. I'm kidding, but I do think they're a little bit more professional. Um, these are Master Touch canvases. They're nice. They're stretched well. So what I'm going to do is grab me some spray paint here. Let's see. I'm trying to blend two colors together, so I think I'm going to pick up this blue. Grab me a fat cap. Again, I'm using Montana caps 1 through 5. This is a level 5, so it's gonna be the fattest you can go in that set. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. Give me a brand new cap. Let's get started. So you're just going to spray this whole canvas down. See, that fat cap really just covers a lot more area. So you're going to spray that whole canvas down. So make sure you get those sides in there. Even underneath. Don't forget, can't forget anything. So let's go back over here and get a pink. So this is a Montana Gold Hot Pink. Spray the top of that canvas. It doesn't really, since it's a hot pink, it's more transparent. It's not going to blend as well with that blue. So you're going to do a little on the corners right there. So I'm going to go back over here and get this blue again and kind of spray from the bottom up, kind of get it to blend since that pink didn't blend as well. Do a little stripe right there. Alright. And then I'm looking for a skinnier cap. We're gonna, let's pick this pink. And then I'm gonna do that graffiti R I like doing. And just kind of fill in random things in the background. Spray that out. Do X, of course. Gotta put the X in there. An arrow, so you know where you're looking. Couple little dashes. Then I'm gonna grab a black. Go over here. Add an outline. And if you wanna take that pink and straighten out those lines, just go over those lines gently, kind of taper them out. Fill it in a little bit more. You know, and a lot of this stuff isn't going to, when you put your main subject in the foreground, all this stuff isn't, but it gives it a nice little touch for the background. Then I'm going to go over here. So this is, I use this a lot. I love this technique, is spraying water. So I'll spray this canvas down with water. Pretty much cover that entire canvas. Spray it all over. And then I'll take this shadow black, which is that transparent black, and I'll just spray it from a distance. It gives it a nice texture, and with that water on there, it just looks really cool in my opinion. Do little streaks in there. Some more streaks. More streaks. Then the last thing I like to do is I like to grab one of my sample paints that you can get from Home Depot. This is my main source that I'm using to paint with. And grab a 2-inch brush and just kind of do strokes right down the canvas, maybe on the side over there. And then do some splatters. Gotta love the paint splatters. Do little touches over here and there. Get that side. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. So let's go back in here. You gotta let that dry. I think I let it dry overnight. And you don't have to do this step. I like doing this. Sometimes the paint gets a little heavy when it dries on there, a little too much texture. So I like to sand that canvas down. So just take an electric sander, or you can sand by hand, and just sand that whole canvas down, nice and good. Just to smooth it out, get that paint to stick to the canvas a little more. And then make sure you take a picture of that canvas once you're done. And we're going to go in here in the computer, and I got some images, so I'm going to upload that picture of that canvas, and then I have some pictures of Edgar Allan Poe that I found. We're going to put it on there. Make sure you're not using copyright photos. This is obviously an old photo of Edgar Allan Poe, and then you're just going to kind of position it on that canvas in Photoshop. Get rid of those edges. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a mock-up of how you want that painting to look. I like doing this. I like to, make sure everything's on the canvas and looks good to me before I even start. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just getting rid of that background a little bit. And then I found this old 1940s character of, I think his name is Buzzy the Crow. It's a cartoon that ran from 47 to 54. It's like a post-war, World War II cartoon. I couldn't find a raven. I really, really was searching hard for a raven. So I figured a crow would work. I like to add cartoons and realism. I think it's a cool little touch. But you just do whatever your little heart feels like doing. You can just have fun with it and put all kinds of stuff together. So I'm going to put him right there on his shoulder. I think that's kind of cool. Set him right there. And then I'm going to go back in here and get rid of a little bit of the bottom of Edgar. And I'm going to put some text in there, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to put a little bit. I found a cool, kind of old school movie font that I liked. So I'm going to type The Raven. And of course, that was actually the first poem that Edgar actually got any notoriety from. It's a fun little fact for you. He only made $14 from The Raven. So he didn't get rich off of it, but he was very popular locally. Maybe even nationwide. I couldn't tell you that. Yeah, so that's looking about done. And after that, we are going to get started. So after that, you're gonna, you can either project it, you can do the grid method, but I like to draw everything out. So now that I have everything drawn out, I'm going to get started. I usually like to start from the bottom, working up. You can start from the top, working. You can do whatever you want. This is just a video showing you how I, paint my paintings. I'm using these angular brushes. I love angular brushes. Pretty much all I use. They're Master Touch. A long handle. I like the long handles, but it's whatever you prefer. So we're going to go in here and fill in these letters that I've drawn. And like I said, I use all Home Depot sample. I think they're $6 at Home Depot. You just go to the paint section, pick out, paint swatches. They have a ton of colors, and they last forever. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to take this black and start away. Make sure you have a little water cup. Get you your napkin too. I like to wipe my brushes off on that napkin. Then you're just gonna start filling in. It's a little tedious. Um, Takes a minute, and you're gonna have to probably do 2 to 3 coats. So I use a heat gun. A heat gun is a tool that I use constantly. So I'll paint the letters out, use the heat gun over it. Not too close, you're going to burn it. You're going to either burn the canvas or burn the paint, or both, if you're lucky. But yeah, you just use that heat gun and dry it out a little bit and then do a couple other coats on there. So yeah, this is just a tedious. I have shaky hands too, so it's a little bit harder for me, but let's go ahead and speed this process up a little bit. Gonna speed it up a little bit here. Just fill in all those letters. I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to watch, a whole 30-minute video of me just filling in letters. I figured you didn't, but, so I sped it up here for you. Just fill in all those letters. This is a cool font. I love fonts. I use fonts and words in a lot of my paintings. I have a graphic design background, so obviously they kind of go hand in hand. All right, so we're going to take this canvas, my little pup, walk through my house over here. We're going to take it to the garage again, and put it up here on the wall. Get rid of these boxes. Get out of here, box. Put it up here on the wall. Take that shadow black. Get a fatter cap, maybe even a medium cap. We're going to spray kind of the top of that. Give it like a depth. This will all make sense later. It's going to kind of look like a ripped page at the bottom. But once you paint everything above, it'll make sense. I like this effect. It's just something I do. Like I said, just, do you, find your own style, figure it out. So I'm going to take this yellow and just from a distance kind of give it a little bit character on those corners. All right. So after that, I think that's going to be the line. We're going to fill all that in. So now, yeah, I'm going to find me all my grays. I think I'm using 3 different shades of gray here, light to dark. Get those ready. And what I like to do is shake them up and then use the lids as actual, a little palette. I'm going to add some touches. This is would be his right shoulder, but looking at his left shoulder. And we're going to start doing this bow tie right here. And I like to paint in, where the paint's wet, and then I'll add some black and kind of blend it on the canvas. But you got to make sure that that paint's still wet. We're going to go in there and just keep filling in and just kind of work light to dark or dark to light. I'm not sure what it looks to be like an old-timey bow tie of some sorts. We're just going to add some lines and textures in there. And it's all, for me, it's all focusing in on one little section of the painting. So I focus in on one section. To me, like when I focus on the entire piece, then I just feel like I'm trying to rush to get it done. So I like to do one little section at a time. And like I said, just work from the bottom up. Keep adding. I think there was like some little stripes in there, so I had some of those stripes. And since it's grayscale, I do mix colors on those lids because I mean it's really not going to affect the overall colors a whole lot. So you can do that as well, and add those stripes in there. Add that highlight. I think I spent quite a while on this part of this bow tie. I think the most details were right in this bow tie area. And this video, I'm gonna skip ahead in some parts. I'm gonna skip over Buzzy over here. Um, but like I said, you would just fill in all those colors. And with the orange and Buzzy and the yellows, you're really the thing with yellows and oranges and stuff. They're so transparent that you're gonna have to do. I think I had to do 5 or 6 layers of paint just for it to look solid. So that gets a little tedious, but it's all for a good cause. You'll find happiness in the end, I promise. Just keep adding those little details. Paint things that are fun to you. I like to paint things I'm passionate about. So right here, I'm using a big angular brush. We're working on his face, and I'm going to start just kind of sectioning off shadowy areas of his face. Um, I'm going to use the grays, the darker grays, and just kind of fill in his face with just different shades. And then eventually I'll go back in there and with a finer angular brush, and I'll do the details. But I like to just get it kind of blocked out where you can see the different shades, and his face will come together a little bit. I've always been a huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe. He was a tormented soul and an awesome creator. He was also an artist, which is kind of wild. A lot of people thought he was going to be a successful artist. Yeah, just get all that in there. And with that bigger angular brush, once you do this, the process goes a little bit easier. You can go back in there and do all those fine details. So you can kind of see it coming together. So now, yeah, like I said, I'm going to go in here and use this white. I'm going to use a smaller angular brush, and I'm going to really bring out some of those highlights. So under that lip, let's really bring out some of those highlights. That's going to really make it pop. Yeah, I was watching a lot of things on Edgar Allan while I was actually painting this. Some fun facts for you. His dad left the family when he was little. His mom died at a young age. He was adopted, loved his adopted mother. She passed away. Adoptive father hated him, sent him off to college, barely gave him enough money to survive. Um, yeah, and he got in a lot of trouble, got in a lot of gambling debt. Um, didn't really figure things out, I think, until he was a little bit older. And The Raven was his first success, which I was saying earlier. He only made $14 off of it, so he was still broke. Yeah, so get all that white in there. See how it's kind of popping a little bit. Like I've said in my past video, my stuff is still pretty cartoony because I like to use a lot of black. That's just. But if you want to stay away from the black and use just darker grays, you're gonna keep it a little bit more realistic. It's when you're using those dark blacks for the lines that makes it a little bit cartoonier. That's just my style. That's what I like to do. Um, but yeah, find what pleases you. Yeah, just gonna Add some more whites, and I'll take a bigger angular brush and go in on his forehead, um, which goes pretty fast. You can just, I think I started on the left side and worked light, and then went to the right side and worked dark, and just kind of blend that in. And like I was saying, make sure your paints are, when you're painting on the canvas, make sure it's wet, because then if you take another color on top of that wet paint, you can blend it there on the canvas. Dude had some serious bags under his eyes. So what a hard life gets you. Yep, and just kind of blend it in. If you use that brush and you have some paint on your brush and you use all the paint off the brush where there's just a little bit left, you can kind of blend those colors, keep blending them until that paint completely leaves your brush. So have little details. And you can use other brushes. I love angular brushes. I think they work great for pretty much everything I'm looking for lines and thick strokes. They're just great. I don't think I've used another brush in years. Just kind of fill in that nose. Yeah, make sure you have some entertaining things going in the background. I think I'm watching Bad Friends or something like that over on the old telly. Yeah, you're just gonna finish that out. Sorry, still getting used to the GoPro. I should have tilted it down a little bit better, but you can see that progress going on there. Old Buzzy is a fun little character on the side there, which that took me a little bit longer. It takes me longer to do technical things. I have more fun blending like this on more realistic type images. Buzzy took me a couple hours to do that. But yeah, so with the hair, I like to fill in the hair with all black first. Get all that black, and then take your angular brush and just do some highlights, because there's some highlights in the hair. So you're just gonna do. You don't want to do just one motion. You're gonna want to kind of do them all over the place, because hair's not, perfectly parallel. So you're gonna kind of just do spots all over the place. Just keep going with that. And then we're almost done here. So what I like to add symbols on there. So I'm gonna add a heart here with this neon yellow. It's gonna add a heart there, and just spray some drips in there. You're just gonna hold it on there. Spray it on there. Let it drip down. I love me some drips. Let it drip, drip. And after that, it's about done. And that's it. Well, thank you so much for tuning in again. I'll have some more content for you next week. I hope you guys stay safe. And Godspeed.
It's cooter music. Duh.
You are now viewing Random Direction.